Hi everyone. I hope you all had a really wonderful weekend. I am back on schedule today. I'm still getting well. It has been a very slow process, and yes, I've taken antibiotics. I've been to the doctor. It's just a matter of time and healing, and thank you all for sending me healing vibes. I really appreciate it. If you do have a personal reading that you're waiting on from me, I am back on schedule today, and I will be getting a lot of readings out. So if you still have not received your reading from me today, it is because I am still a couple of days behind, but I'm quickly getting caught up. So you will be hearing from me, I promise. I have not forgotten anybody. If it's been a week since you've received your reading, please email me. I don't think anybody is a week out. I think it's only a couple of days. So, but please email me if it has been a week. I don't want it to go out that far. So we are going to look into the divine masculine and the divine feminine energies for this week, April 2nd to April, 7th? 8th, sorry, till next Sunday. This is going to be a very challenging week for both sides, really. And I know that it's been very challenging. I know a lot of people really want to give up on this journey, and I know that things have been really rough lately. The Libra full moon that we just had, I will tell you firsthand experience, it was a doozy for me. I am a Libra rising though, so I kind of expected it to come in. I did not recognize how much I needed to release. Yes, the Libra full moon was all about balance, but it was all balance in relationships. But it was also about balancing yourself and understanding, where do I fit within relationships? And I think that there's a big question right now, especially with the divine feminine, if you are not in contact with your divine masculine, or vice versa, or you do know who your divine feminine or divine masculine, who they are, but you're not together, you're not in union or contact. There's a feeling of abandonment and disappointment, and it's like stronger now than it has been. And the reason why these are coming up is because of the triggers that we have always had of feeling abandoned in the world. And so I really want you to, I know so many people are tired of hearing the words dig deep. I heard those words the other day and I was like, oh my God, I'm so tired of digging deep. Like, I don't want to dig deep anymore, right? But we chose this journey. And sometimes it's hard for me to look at everybody and say, whether you like it or not, you chose this journey in your soul contract with each other. And you did it for a greater purpose. You did it to bring love back into humanity. Often we think that the reason why we chose this journey is so we could be with our twin flames. And yes, we will eventually be together. There will be a union. We are promised that, and we've promised each other that. But during this time of triggering and needing to heal and needing to open up and recognize all of the past traumas, past life traumas that do need to be healed, we have to remember that the ultimate desire for the twin flame experience is to bring love back into humanity, a pure, unconditional love that source, that God intended, and we have to remember that we're being taken care of through all of it, and we are protected. And so when you are doubting yourself or doubting this journey or doubting your twin flame, keep in mind that we chose this because we are strong and we are ready for everything that comes to us. And I, for one, can't wait until all of the traumas and the hurts. If you are living in a place of fear right now because there is longing and there is wanting to be with your divine partner, your twin flame, your soulmate, if you are in a place right now where you think that you'll never be together, it's natural to feel like that, but that's a very low vibration. And so what I really want you to do this week, especially with all of the energies that are going on, I want you to look inside and see where that fear is coming from. Is it a fear of being alone? Is it a fear of not being loved? If that's the case, then there is something from your past. You know, what was it that made you think that you could not be loved, or that there was no such thing as a true love? Or is there something that needs to come up where, you know, if you think that you are just like on this planet, you know, living day to day, even though you know you're part of a twin flame experience, and you're like, what's the point? The point is to master yourself. And mastering yourself is learning how to love yourself, even through all of the hardship and all of the pain that come up. Excuse me. I will be drinking my tea throughout this because my throat is still very scratchy. So let's look at the Divine Masculine. And when I say Divine Masculine and Divine Feminine, and I did promise that in April I will start a series of Twin Flame videos where I'm explaining all the terms that we hear through all of this. Divine Masculine, Divine Feminine, especially because it's not necessarily what gender you are here. It is, we all resonate with the Divine Masculine or the Divine Feminine at one point during our journey. It just depends on where you are in your journey. And I'll go into that further, but I do want you to remember that as you are listening to this reading, if you resonate with the Divine Masculine side and you're a female, that's perfectly okay. If you resonate with the Divine Feminine side and you're a male, again, that is perfectly okay. It does not take away from your physical form at all. So let's see what the Divine Masculine energies are. Get one oracle card for April 2nd to the 8th, 2018. Wow, April 2018, it's crazy. Take the lead. I think we got this a couple of months ago for the Divine Masculine. And it's very difficult right now for the Divine Masculine to understand what take the lead means, because they honestly, it's like they fear loving or approaching the Divine Feminine, because there have been a lot of Divine Feminine that have been wounded by the Divine Masculine. And I mean, and I'm talking centuries of being wounded, and that's all coming to the surface. I mean, this is a very big time for all of that to come to the surface. And so right now, the Divine Masculine is having a very, very hard time in saying, okay, I'm ready. I can be in charge. I can take the lead. And so Spirit is asking the Divine Masculine to dig this week, really look into what it means to step up to the plate, what it means to look directly into a Divine Feminine's eyes and say, no, I can protect you. I can take care of you. I do unconditionally love you no matter what is going on. So we have the King of Wands, which is a man who does take the lead. And I do think that even if you're not feeling it right now as a Divine Masculine, I do feel like there is a wanting and a desire to be with their counterpart. The King of Wands is somebody who takes no shit. The King of Wands is somebody who really is very determined and courageous. And, you know, you could be dealing with a fire sign, but really I just, like, in general want to say that the Divine Masculine is coming out as the King of Wands and knowing, they need to know that they are being guided by the universe right now, Judgment. If you look at this card, see how the Divine is coming out of the sky and giving medicine to this man. And he looks like he's coming out of purgatory. So it could be that the divine masculine is also kind of going through a spiritual awakening this week, and recognizing that the path and the road that he does have to take has really been set forth for him, and he chose this a long time ago. Long time ago. The Six of Pentacles talks about a reciprocity. And I think this goes along with taking the lead. If the divine masculine has not been the one to go forth and offer love or any kind of help or service to the divine feminine, if you're not in contact, I do feel like there will be, to me, there feels like there's going to be a lot of psychic abilities this week, and telepathy, and the divine masculine saying, I do understand where I'm supposed to be and what I'm supposed to be doing. And I know deep down in my heart somewhere I'm being divinely guided, but how do I bring that into the material world? How do I bring that into the 3D world without being wrapped up in what giving and taking in a 3D way truly means? Let's get a couple more cards for the divine masculine. The Emperor. It's all about being in control. And there could be kind of, I mean, the Emperor is almost a card of pride, you know, and the Two of Pentacles. So it's like the decision here, you know, do I choose to give? Do I choose to take control? Do I choose to let the universe guide me in this? Let's clarify some things. I'd like to clarify the King of Wands. What does he stand for? What is the King of Wands wanting for the week? Two of Swords. So Spirit is really asking the divine masculine to look into his past. The Two of Swords in this deck, this woman is very determined to move forward, but she doesn't see that wolf in the background. And since she doesn't see that wolf in the background, it's very hard for her to understand that there are things that need to be cleaned up from the past, because they will appear again. And I feel like once the divine masculine takes the blindfolds off, in the traditional tarot, there's a blindfold on the woman in the Two of Swords. Once the divine masculine takes the blindfold off and is no longer in denial that there are things that are blocking him from moving forward, or there are things that do keep coming up and blocking him, I feel like the universe, source, will just kind of come out of thin air and be like, all right, blessings. Let me show you all of these spiritual blessings. We have the Three of Cups here. And to me, the Three of Cups is really saying, this is like the Holy Trinity. This is like the divine feminine and the divine masculine, and then source all together. And to me, the Three of Cups is a union or a reunion card. And I feel like Spirit is really asking the divine masculine to believe that as they clear out the blockages of the past and past experiences, the universe is willing to open themselves up to all of the blessings, you know. And I do feel like the divine masculine could possibly be in a like giving type mode right now, or wanting to give. Or they feel like on the other end, it could feel like they've been giving too much. Maybe they're in a karmic relationship where they do feel like they've been giving too much. And the Four of Wands. This could be that karmic relationship that they're in right now, that they're kind of giving a lot to. And it's really hard because when they aren't being connected spiritually, but they are being connected in the 3D form, But the Four of Wands is also all about wanting to, you know, if we put the Six of Pentacles and the Four of Wands together, this is about wanting to build a future and build a very stable future. And so this could really be something that the Divine Masculine wants to move forward with. And so is there pride? Is that what the Emperor is? Is there like a 3D pride getting in the way for the Divine Masculine to move forward? Is there this, because I feel like there's a need to heal so many things from their past. But I do want to say that, you know, sometimes that pride and ego, when it gets in the way, that, I mean, this to me, the Two of Pentacles is all about ego. The Two of Swords is all about ego. It's like when you are trying to make that decision and trying to recognize what decision you have to make or where you need to go from here, it's like you kind of force it almost. And so I think that that's where we have the Ace of Cups at the bottom of the deck. So we have the Lovers on the Emperor. If the masculine is trying to control this relationship in a 3D way and really wanting to take control, and not in a bad way, if they're wanting to take control of it, they're really trying to grapple with, how do I do that? Because right now I don't feel like they've been struggling with, am I enough for this? Five of Pentacles. It's like, that's the decision. Am I enough for this? Can I really do this? And so I almost feel like Spirit is saying, you have the strength to do it. You can be the Emperor. It is Aries season also, and the Emperor does represent Aries. And we also have the Knight of Pentacles. I like the Knight of Pentacles. A lot of people are like, oh my God, the Knight of Pentacles, slow, slow, slow. It feels stagnant. But I want you to remember that sometimes stagnant energy, sometimes slow energy, is what really builds the strength of something, the foundation of something. And sometimes things have to go slowly. And it's so painful. It's so painful when it goes this slowly. I understand. But if the masculine is trying to build that up this week, I do see that it is coming in a very spiritual way for them. It's like 3D versus 5D. And with the Ace of Cups and Strength and Death, here, let's go through this really quick. I know this is going to be a really long video. The Ace of Cups, Strength, Death, and the Fool. So another reunion card, another union, another flowing of emotion. And I do feel like we're being asked to have the strength to welcome this in. This is like a gift from Source, from the Divine, saying, you can have this and more, I promise. But some things have to change. Death and the Fool. Some things have to change before we can just jump right in. Yeah? And if there's conflict, Five of Wands, I do feel like if there is some conflict happening in the Divine Masculine's world right now, this is where the journey is going to kind of become difficult for them. And really they need to make sure they're opening themselves to what the universe is offering, you know? And know that you can't really control, a relationship like this. it's going to happen in divine timing. Yes, we all have free will. Yes, we all take detours in our soul contracts that we make. But when it comes down to it, this relationship is all about mastering yourself and kind of getting control and gaining control within yourself. And I feel like that's what Spirit's asking of the Divine Masculine this week, is to really start to master yourself and clean up the stuff that continues to come back, that cycle of things that continue to come back because the lesson hasn't been learned quite yet. So let's look into the Divine Feminine's energy. I don't see a lot of communication from the Divine Masculine this week. I'm going to leave that one out. But I feel like there's a lot of telepathic communication, or there's a lot of heart chakra opening communication. And if your Divine Masculine is still unawakened, you have to remember that the higher self still knows, and the higher self still contacts the Divine Feminine. Because usually the Divine Masculine is the unawakened twin, if there is one that is not awake fully yet. Okay, so Divine Feminine energies for... What kind of energies can we expect from the Divine Feminine? What kind of advice can we give her to move forward on her path? Feel strong within it. Oh, there it is. That one wanted to come out. Seek. I think this is like, I believe this is the Hermit card, actually, in the traditional tarot. I feel like the Divine Feminine really needs to ground herself this week. Really ground herself with all the energies that are going on. There is an opportunity to either be extremely sad this week or redirect those energies into being hopeful. And so when we seek ourselves first, and I really feel like that's what this is asking, like the spirit guides are saying, seek yourself first, seek your innermost healing first. Really open yourself up to knowing that things are working the way that they are supposed to be working. And remember that there's always that building process, right? 3 of Pentacles. There's always that building up process. And the 3 of Pentacles is all about teaching, but it's also about learning. And it's about starting from the very beginning. So if some of you are spiritual healers, I feel like this is a specific message for some spiritual healers that are also Divine Feminines, or that are also part of a twin flame experience. I feel like you will be working either with your masculine's higher self, or if you are in contact in the 3D, actually working with your masculine and kind of like helping build them up, teach them how to, like teach them what you need from them to take the lead, for them to take the lead. I feel like there's going to be that opening of expression from the Divine Feminine. And if you are healers, spiritual guidance, or healers, or readers, there will be a lot of teaching this week. And I want you to remember that as you're teaching others, you will also be learning from them. Listen to what Spirit is saying through you to other people, because there might be a lesson in it. There might be something. I do feel like psychic abilities and intuition will be heightened, very much so, this week. Okay, so we have the Page of Swords, and we have the Knight of Swords, and we have Strength, and we have the 9 of Wands. Page of Swords Page of Swords is really about a very tentative conversation, like the beginning of a conversation. And I feel like if the divine feminine wants to reach out to her masculine this week, to make sure it's not in an aggressive way. Because if you are feeling lonely or lost or abandoned in some way, there might be a tendency to feel a little hostile, volatile. If your divine masculine has hurt you in some way, I can understand these feelings. In fact, I empathize with them and I sympathize with them. And what I want to tell you is during those moments of wanting to break out and yell and scream and fight, really ground yourself and find out what those triggers are that's doing that to you. Because no, it's not okay to be hurt. And it's not okay to feel that kind of pain. And it's not okay to feel boxed in or in fight mode, defensive fight mode with the 9 of Wands. But Spirit's really saying, let's gather our strength. Let's tame the lion and gather our strength. And remember that we can release those negative energies. That's kind of the fear that I was talking about in the beginning. If you are in a very longing and wanting and desiring stage for your divine masculine right now, it could be because there is a fear of not being together. There's a fear of not being loved. There's a fear of being hurt. How very interesting. The Queen of Wands. So both the divine masculine and the divine feminine are taking on fire qualities. Very confident, very determined, very courageous, focused. They know what they want. And isn't it interesting that it's the same suit that came out? I love it when that happens. We also have the Hierophant here, and we have the 6 of Swords. So, and I want you to know that Venus is in Taurus right now, and that is all about sowing the seeds of love, per se. It's also all about really feeling like you want to reach out. And I want you to know that it's okay to feel like you want to reach out. And if you can't, if you're not allowed to, or if you do reach out and you don't get an answer or something like that, I want you to remember that Venus is working right now. The energies are working right now. And the 6 of Swords is that mental clarity, that mental balance within. And I think that because this is such a spiritual reading for the divine feminine with Seek, and the Hierophant is a very spiritual card, I do feel like there is a need to really be confident about yourself and really master yourself and really open yourself up to what your purpose is, what your divine purpose is. Because ultimately, yes, our divine purpose and mission involves our counterpart, but we also have our own. I know personally, I have my own mission along with, the mission of my counterpart, but 3 of Pentacles. What is it that the divine feminine needs to learn? How to build? What is it this week? What is that one thing? Is it learning how to rebuild in a 3D way? Is it being grounded within her environment? Is it knowing that she can teach others and learn at the same time? Working really hard. I do feel like the divine feminine with the Devil card here, working very hard. A lot of times this represents the shadow side also, so we have to keep that in mind. But being very determined and working very hard at just life, you know. I feel like the Divine Feminine, we have been very much in the 5D world. And if there are things that have to be taken care of, we need to speak that, and we need to make sure that we're doing that. I feel like once we push forward with the Page of Swords and actually like say what needs to be said, I know it's a very timid way to do it, but it's just the beginning of a conversation. There can be victory there. It doesn't have to be, I mean, the Six of Wands is like, you can rise above. You can cut out whatever needs to be cut out of your existence and rise above and not get into the discourse of it, the discord of it. You don't need to get into an argument with anybody. It doesn't even have to be with your Divine Masculine, your counterpart. It just is like, you don't need to have an argument at all. I do think the Star is all about healing. You know, if you need to open up and say something to help you heal, I'm not going to tell you not to do that. Sometimes we have to voice what we need to say in order to heal. And I don't want you to sugarcoat things with your Divine Masculine, especially this week, because I think he needs to hear it if you're in contact. If you're not in contact with your Divine Masculine and you don't know who that is, but you're angry about life and you're angry about love, write it all down. I gave this advice to a friend of mine yesterday, and I actually took it myself. Write everything down that you want to say. Every single thing that you want to say to your Divine Masculine, or you want to say to the universe, if you don't know who your soulmate or Divine Masculine is. Whatever you need to say, write it all down and then burn it. Release it. Let it go. Let all of that negative pent-up anger and energy go. Because when we hold on to that low vibration, we're blocking each other. You can't open yourself up, you know, and if you can't say it to him directly and know that everything's going to be okay, or if you fear saying something like that, let that fear go. Really open yourself up. What is strength? And for some reason, I get the feeling that if there are some feminines that do need to say something to their masculines this week, and they do it, it will be received in a good way. I'm not sure. That's just a feeling that I'm getting. I do know that all situations are different. If you cannot or you're not able to open up to your masculine, you know, write it down and let it go. And we're being asked to have strength for the Ace of Cups. So definitely on both the masculine and the feminine side, everybody's thinking about emotional abundance and filling their cups back up. And if this has been a struggle, we're being asked to find that strength, tame the lion, and really build yourself towards that for sure. So the Nine of Wands. What is this Nine of Wands? Three of Cups. If you're guarded against a reunion with your Divine Masculine, this is that fear base that we're talking about. And it's like, I kind of have a feeling that some feminines are like, I'm not guarded. I want it. I want to be with my Divine Masculine. Okay, I understand that. But if you're angry about it, or you have a fear or a longing, or there's like that desperation there, that is what is blocking you. That's what the Nine of Wands is. That's the blockage to union. And that's what we have to remember is raising our vibration is going to help raise their vibration. Because we're always connected, right? So really unblock yourself from the fear of not being together, the fear and the longing and the hurt and the pain. Because when we hold on to that, that is when we block union. So 6 of Swords. What is a 6 of Swords? Six of Swords is really about balancing out your mental state. Swords are all about thoughts. And when we begin to come from a place of negative thought processes to a more positive, that's when our vibration can be higher. And the Magician is here to tell you that once we come into that mental clarity, that's when the manifestation is able to, it's like that spark, it starts. Now, how do we come into that mental stability, that mental balance? We consistently remind ourselves that through this journey, no matter how hard it is, through this journey, we are promised blessings. We're promised gifts. We are promised spiritual abundance. And the knowing that we have control over grounding ourselves, and we can manifest the things that we put into our soul contract. We can manifest abundance in our life. So this Queen of Wands, being very determined, being very focused and ready. I feel a very big readiness to just kind of open ourselves to all of the possibilities that the universe has for us. And knowing that while we learn things, while we teach things, we're also learning. And while we learn, we can also teach. We can rise above any kind of discord or negative energy, and heal and bring that balance within. And that's what the Libra full moon was all about, was really balancing not only the relationships in our lives, but ourselves too. The Queen of Wands begins a new cycle. And there's that balance, that justice. The bottom of the deck, along with the moon. So the things that are still being unspoken this week, there's an Aries new moon on the 15th of April. And that's going to be a time of manifestation, for sure. Really starting new things. I feel like the divine feminine is coming into a whole brand new cycle of not only manifestation, but healing and abundance and emotional fulfillment. And so let's remember that this emotional fulfillment happens within us first. First and foremost, we make this within ourselves. And we have to have the strength to do that. And I feel like actually both the divine feminine and the divine masculine are kind of on the same page. You may not be in contact. You may still be hoping for a reunion. Or you may be in contact. This reading is for all of them, all of the above. But I want you to know that even if you're not in contact, you're still in contact with each other's higher selves. And when the higher selves are on the same page and at that high vibration, you can have the world. You can have victory. This is a very high vibration. So rise above all of the discord. Rise above all of the negative energies. Really recognize the work that you volunteered for, really, to bring that love into humanity. That's what we're here for. So I hope everybody has a really wonderful week. Again, thank you for the well wishes. I really appreciate it. If you'd like to have a personal reading with me, you can check out the InstantGo app. You can have a more in-depth Twin Flame Soulmate Divine Partnership reading on my website, fearlessintuition.net. There are 2 different options on there for soulmate readings. And of course, you can always email me if you have any questions. spirituallyfearless1111@gmail.com. Fearlessintuition.net if you want any personal readings at all. Have a wonderful week, and thank you for the well wishes. And I'm so excited that I'm actually starting to feel better. Kind of ebbs and flows, but I think I'm on the upswing. So I love you guys. Have a great week. Bye.